right. I loved them both dearly. I had not the heart to tell them that each was my lover. I had to find some way to break it to them, but how could I? I realized right there and then that mostly what I needed was respite for my soul, a soul damaged from my past.
Hey, what happened to the POV?
Hey, come back with that. But then I realized I had to go very quickly.
Hey, come back here with
I had to meet an old friend of mine, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was on my way to a rendezvous with destiny. So without further ado, I simply left the coffee shop for a rendezvous with the pretty young thing. Asked me as if she were in dire straits and the devil himself was riding on her backside. But the Asphalt Jungle. What, a player like me doesn't have time for that.
Young people rushing everywhere ever since
New York City.
I came here from the old country. Only seen young people rushing around.
It's the kind of place
They didn't have
Everyday life at the that shop was always just
that'd eat a man's soul alive.
I don't have time for little peons like this who just
Chew them up and spit the bones out all over the
behavior all in the name of
tell you it's hard enough to make it on the street these days without peeling.
street.
Give me that. I want that for my POV now. This is nice one.
For the average passerby to step on and crush. You're listening to the Nouveau Radio Theatre Guild production, leaving nothing but dramatis personae, a deconstructionist radio play, a vein of the old splintered twin plays of the Bones, 1930s.
Oh! Fuckers. And this is October 6, 2005. Your experience technical difficulties, please.
Good thing this is
Stand by. Come here, you.
New York City. But it is the city nonetheless. My city. It's the place where I the place where I live, the place where I put on my dreams. And right now my dreams were clogged. Smog. Far from welcome back to the program. Oops, 2 minutes left the metronome running. Welcome back to the program, people. I'm your host, Kai and Chris Conroy, and you are indeed listening to technical difficulties. Break. Somewhere in my early 30s, I remember the show in the country where I grew up, and in my late 30s in age, if that's important to you. The field, welcome back. Flying solo again this week. Guy, this is all that other, another turn at the comedy wheel and baggy country stuff. We are now fully into October. I want to go back there. A cold, brisk. I was going to take a break here in Minneapolis, and I read here in a coffee. Hope you'll enjoy, where I could get some joy, the warmth of the comedy stylings, or whatever that means. Anyway, welcome back to the show, and terrific. And let's go. On this week's episode of Tech Good Coffee Shop and Difficulties, we would like you to consider a entire neighborhood. It's the Center for the Study for Hyper-Attention, full of the beautiful people. Span looks like deficit disorder. October is the center's annual college students again, mostly. Driving out there, and this year we're hoping to raise up to $20 million to help with the pathetic little lives. What are they debilitating? Working on hating illness of, just look at all those leaves that fell past my window. I'm here. Probably a novel in the corner. What was that screenplay saying? Is that candy? Can I have some? This week's episode, they don't know what's what. There's also all living brought to you by Nature's Edge deodorant and body spray. With their aspirations and dreams, I suppose. One quick, better than nothing. Spritz, and you'll be swarmed by clouds of stinging. I approach the counter and I'm addressed by sex. Nature's Edge. That'll learn ya. Pimply, zitty-faced young man. Probably yet and from Bjorski's, Russia's most flammable vodka. One of the student class. Dreaming his way through. Just perfect for taking care of all those household life. Old pet. Can I help you? That's Bjorski's vodka with 1,001 uses. He says in an undernourished voice to me. I check as long as they all involve burning things. Up and down. A reedy guy in his early 20s tied back. Now, Mr. Deltron, I understand that you've decided all over an apron with a button on that says to throw yourself on the mercy of this court. and enter. Ask me about our latest coffee. So there, plea for the reduced charge of manslaughter. Chester?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about your latest coffee? Now this requires a complete disclosure of the crime as rainforest blend. He says it with a disdained air. It happened. You will understand that, don't you, Del Monte?
Yes, I do.
And all around the world, kid's probably lucky if. Let's hear it then.
Well,
he's been out of it.
I was staying
his hometown. He'll learn though.
Waiting for a bus. Just minding my own business.
Like him once, thought I knew it all.
I was on my way to
young and
work, and I noticed.
Foolish. Sir, you
there was
going to order this anything, or you're just going to stand
voice behind me
there and vaguely insult me?
Excuse me, and I turned around and looked, and there was this.
Hang on a second, son. You
dog
can actually.
It was like kind of
hear my internal monologue.
Like a round egg with
what internal monologue? You're just standing there
glasses
talking to you.
And he was holding a cat.
He thinks he knows.
Prod, and he was talking to a rat.
Oh. Standing there thinking about I see the birdie go on.
Anyway,
dreams of a middle-aged.
He asked me that if he could use.
What would he know about
this is an illustration.
I do have a job to do here.
To show how people are basically just
order coffee at a pre-heard and
he's just
yes another ghost that
I
passes.
Said I was just waiting for a bus
through the lives of people like me.
I politely asked him to,
sir, if you
leave me alone, and he jabbed me
to tell.
In
the end, he's just a walk-on in my life.
Prod. And I fell over screaming in pain.
All right. I get it. Two can play at that game, huh? So I
turned to the rat and said, "There, look, stupid and slow to
check him out." What? Looks like a typical guy in his 30s. Kind of
like that, I don't remember. And he tried to jab me again.
Life always beats you down. I wonder what happens to people once they get on it.
Reached over and grabbed one of those traffic pylons that was off to the side of
their lives, that they find themselves just completely flattened like a steam
because they were working on the lamppost, and they grabbed it, and I beat
runs them down. I didn't have time for people like that. I was
dogged to death
moving.
I see. I'm really sorry, Your Honor.
I still had some youth left in me. Hey.
I didn't mean to do it.
Hey, this is my story, okay?
But I was under a lot of duress, and I was being called.
Hey, you can't hijack my internal monologue and put it into yours. He's dead with an air.
Cattle prod by a dog with glasses.
Indignation, the kind that the old reserve for the young, the one who still have
so sorry.
Promise in life. Mr. Del Monte, bears just drift away and break apart like little bubbles. The young punk was grandstanding now for willfully causing the death of internationally renowned comic strip character. Trying to Dogbert, this court act as if hereby sentences the whole world was his oyster, and as if the story belonged to him, but to look around. In fact, it belonged to me. He said, gesturing wildly, and flops. If you see anything, papers, a gum, a dust into the wind, and whiffing off its stale something of alcohol and cigarette. The young twerp mused them in the trash on the way out the door. Through glazed
thank you. Your
eyes clouded over by a haze of cannabis and alt rock. That's one clear. The old man. What's next, Bear? Amused, thinking about how all his heroes from the past. Mr. Jeffy Keed, sir, he's either dead of drug charged with overdose as a recurrent VH1 in Vegas sellout. The little Elizabeth in the form of leaving large black rectangle stammered out, knowing full well that his current level of heroes are just empty goals all over his neighborhood again. Gels, good to see you. Shilled out by corporations. Now the heroes of my past. Again, Mr. Keene, welcome back to much in the courtroom. And burned much more full of soul and power. His voice trailed off. In the interest of brevity in this case, he was sucked into an undertow of, I will let you know, that nostalgia for his salad days. Any so-called testimony by... Not that I could blame him. Watch me or I do. Looking as getting as rumpled as he did. Whimpered the... Will be deemed inadmissible and old-fashioned victim in an ultimately futile attempt to try and undermine... And so don't even try it. We'll return to... Comics of style and panache. The old man dressed like he had just stepped out of an old rock strip court. Robert all right after this.
Dad?
Movie. It was a little on the pathetic side, seeing someone
can I
not grow up and yet grow up.
Good question?
Sure, honey, what is so much? The wannabe Rasta light slacker boy just stood there.
There's this boy at
open mouth
school who I find cute.
Then kind of stared at me with a sort of
I'd like him to go out with
this empty look that burned right through the facade.
I can't get him to notice me.
Sodding air that he
What should I do?
Put off all around him like a miasma of failure. Well, have you tried cock-punching him? That surrounded him as
would work?
Whoa, entire youthful life. The failure that stretched out before him like a... Yeah, you can't say he won't notice you after the blank.
Oh,
And then when he's of infinity, heading towards a void of shining debris. I watched them both f***ing around on the ground. If he won't go out on a just long date with you, as I could stomach and
How many
every single day it was the same old thing. They would kill his